Welcome to EMERJ TV with Reggie Smith. This podcast is about all things production for the people in front of the camera or behind the camera. Let's join Reggie right now for the discussion.
Welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 of my conversation with Jim Holly. I was going to call you Ken Schramm. But before we get into it, I want to tell you something. I remember when Liren was born, your oldest.
Yeah.
And I have an 11-month-old at my house, my
Right.
daughter. And at the taping of this episode, this past Friday night, I kept him by myself for the first time.
Oh boy.
And he was asleep, and I did something, and I thought about you. When Liren was born and she was at home, I remember you kept getting up. And Terry asked, "Why you keep getting up?" You said, "I'm making sure she's breathing."
Yeah.
She's breathing. And so he went to sleep, and I looked over at him. I was like, and I leaned up, and I went, "This is how Jim felt."
Exactly. Yeah.
You gotta make sure they're breathing because they're so quiet. And
Very quiet. And it's like, I'd kind of like poke, leave her alone. She's sleeping.
And I thought about that. I said, this is what Jim was going through. I said, now I know. Because I was just sitting there watching, well, why does he keep checking her? Why does he keep checking her?
Yeah.
And there's a thing called crib death, you know.
Yeah.
And so they stopped breathing and they didn't know why and all this stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one time when my daughter, Liren, slept through the night for the first time, my wife and I were so tired because we get up all night, take care of the baby. She's up every couple hours. Mm-hmm. And so the first time she slept through the night, we slept through the night. And I woke up and the sun's up and I go, oh my gosh, she's dead. And run in there. No, she's still alive. She just slept through the night. Thank goodness.
My youngest, when she did it, I woke up and there was daylight. I was like, we slept through the night.
Yeah. And
it's such an amazing thing. Like, I never expected to wake up in daylight, you know.
I know it. This is amazing. It's great.
But getting back to your career now, you were in Florida.
Yeah.
Now were you doing Tigers in Florida? What was the job in Florida?
Well, I was working for Passports in Detroit, and then Passports was taken over by Fox Sports, and all of our jobs were kind of up in the air. There was myself, Ed Kaltz, and Doug Yalacki, and we were all the directors, producers at PASS. Mm-hmm. And so all of our jobs were kind of up in the air. Maybe we'll give you a chance to get you're doing the Tigers. Maybe we'll give you a chance to do the Tigers again. We don't know. We're gonna see how you work out doing like college hockey and stuff like that. So I thought I better look around for another job as well. And so I did, and a job came up in Florida with the Florida Marlins. Mm-hmm. And I said, how's it going with the Tigers? Well, we don't know yet. Okay, fine. I'm taking the job in Florida.
Yeah.
Better to have a bird in the hand than two in the bush.
Yeah.
So I took the job in Florida, and I went down there, and we moved down there, and I did the Florida Marlins for 17 years. And that was a great experience. Florida is very hot in the summertime. I tell you that right now. Miami is extremely hot in the summertime. If you're from the Midwest, go down in the wintertime. Don't go down in the summertime.
Well, I like hot. So
you'd love it down there. That's 95 degrees, 95% humidity. Just step out of the house and you're soaked. But anyway, so I did that for 17 years, and that was a great experience. And then after that, it was funny because I was a staffer director, and which was unusual because the producers were staffers a lot of times, so directors were freelance. But I was a freelance director, which was like a unicorn.
Right.
And it came up that they needed another producer, and they couldn't do it. Excuse me. They needed another staff position opened up so they could hire the producer. So they eliminated my staff position. And I freelanced for a year down there doing the Tampa Bay Rays. And then we moved back to Michigan because my kids wanted to move back to the north, and my wife wanted to move back to the north. And so we did. We moved back to Michigan. It was great. And a couple of years later, I got a job in Chicago doing at WGN, doing the Chicago Cubs. And I love Chicago. That was a great experience. So I did that for a couple of years. And then in 2020, COVID hit and everything stopped, as you know. There were no sports, there was no nothing. But I was 62 and a half. So I said, well, there's no income coming in, but I can take Social Security, so I'm going to retire. And so that's what I did. And so that was my career. It was about 30 years of directing baseball and hockey, and it was a tremendous career. I loved it.
Well, I've been doing this, I was surprised when I found out how long I had been doing it. I found out 3 years ago, and I said, wait a minute, I've been doing this 40 years.
Yeah, goes fast.
And I was like, well, where did 30 years? You know,
I know.
I was like, well, where did 30 go? It's been 43 years, and I'll tell you, I still feel like I'm just getting started.
Yeah, yeah.
It is so much fun. Every opportunity that I can get. You know, I volunteer at our church. I direct over there, but I get freelance jobs, and I'll admit I did take. Well, okay, I took my Social Security because I was going to wait until I was 70.
Right.
And they said, well, you make more. It's like the longer you wait, the more your bigger your check is.
Right.
I got a letter. I was 65 and a half, and it said, if you wait until you're 70, you'll only make $120 more.
Right.
But the thing that took it in bold black letters, it said, you can do any kind of work you want to do, and it'll not affect
at 65. You're right.
Your check. And I said, okay. So then I took it, and so, but the thing about it is, my first love is just production. I still do it, and the older I get, the more I realize if I think I know it all, I'm going to stop learning.
Right. Yep, exactly.
Because there's always something new.
Always. And technology changes so fast in television.
Man.
It's just unbelievable. You turn around and everybody's doing high def TV now. And that's a whole nother thing to learn.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's another big technological breakthrough that comes down the road. Like, for instance, when we first started out, the videotape room was videotape. And so everything, if you wanted to do something, you'd record it on the videotape. And if you wanted to, let's say during a game, you wanted a replay of something, you had to go way back, zipping back through minutes of tape. And that takes time. And then you find it and you can play it. But it's all linear.
Yeah.
But then comes along computers with EVS, Elvis, and it's all nonlinear. So it's all computerized and nonlinear. So you want a highlight, you can plug it in here at this number on your computer, whatever number you might want, like 122A or whatever, and go on about your job. And then the director would say, I want to see that replay of the home run. It's at 122A. 2 buttons and there it is. And it's all nonlinear. And it's a whole new system, but it's so much better than it used to be.
Yeah.
But the technology is incredible, how it changes and improves.
But what I thought was, one thing that I think that was cool was, just like you said, but we made that work.
Yes.
We made the videotape work.
We pushed the limits.
And we were as tight as if somebody had an Elvis.
Yeah.
And I remember Bob Lewandowski, he was doing all of our commentary.
Yeah.
And they talk about something, and I hear you say, roll that back or run that back. And I hear somebody from back say, got it. Say, roll it.
Yeah.
Take it, wipe it, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as far as we were concerned, we were as good as the pros. We were just doing high school.
We did some really good stuff. I remember the 13-year-old Little League World Series that we did was really primo stuff.
Yeah.
We covered it very well, and we got some people around the city who were going, hey, that's really pretty darn good. We didn't have slow-mo, but we had everything else.
And that was what we wanted.
That's what we wanted.
We were like, we had slow-mo, but
we didn't have slow-mo. But I mean, we were pretty good. That was a lot of fun. We were all learning.
Well, how was it? Now you, as far as I'm concerned, it was you handling the crew.
Right, I was the crew.
You had to bring people in.
The crew.
Yeah, you had to bring people in. Some college interns.
Yep.
Some of us volunteers.
Yep.
And so, what was that like? Because you had to handle, people that have been doing it and were skilled, and then you have somebody just out of school that, all they worked with is, some
Yep.
half-inch with a little home video camera. So what was that like for you? How did you manage that, or what was your thought process?
Well, the first 40 hours of the week were basically doing television production, and the other 40 hours of the week is trying to recruit people to work for us, volunteer or internship that we'd recruit at the colleges. Excuse me, and training them. And a lot of times it would be we'd get a college intern or a volunteer and say, okay, Reggie, you've been around for a while. Show this guy how to work audio. And I'd slough it off on you. And you guys would help me a lot because the experienced guys would be helping the guys who didn't have the experience. And that was a great way to get them up to speed.
Because there were no classes.
There were no classes.
There was no, okay, Saturday be here 10 o'clock and we're going to teach you, okay, this is a camera.
Learn on the
This
fly.
is a cable. Look. And yeah, we learned by doing, but I tell you, it helped me because I learned so fast.
Yeah.
And, Bob Zahari, Ken Schramm,
Right.
John Velty, Sherry Velty.
Right.
At the time, Terry Holly.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, and my thing was, they've gone to school. So they've got an edge on me. So I got to bring myself up to, and especially with John, Ken, Mark, and Bob, because they were, in my opinion, they were your top, top freelancers, and that was your top crew. So, I had to watch them, and I didn't want to ask them anything, because if I asked, then I was going to expose that I didn't know anything.
Right.
Well, how do you focus on this so fast? Like, well, wait a minute, you're here. Don't you know this? So,
well, my favorite thing was a 40-hour intern. Other than you guys who were freelancing, and I could count on you hands down anytime. But a 40-hour intern. Terry Holly was a 40-hour intern. Bob Sahari was a 40-hour intern.
Really?
We had some others. I can't remember who they might have been, but most of the interns were like 10 hours a week. But the 40-hour interns, you could teach them, and they would learn everything and very quickly become good at everything, and someone you could really rely on and count on to just, okay, I don't have to worry about that position because that person's on it. Now I got to just kind of like focus on bringing this other guy along and show them the ropes, but I'm good over here, so I know I got that going for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Now, this was the first studio show that we worked on with you. Dave was on camera and I was on audio, and I forgot what happened. And Dave said, sorry, and you said, don't talk. Listen. I was like, oh my God.
What a hard
Like, this guy,
Hard
I was like,
guy.
oh man. And so then when we got to the end of the show, when you said stand by the fade sound and picture out, I thought, oh my God, I gotta know how to do this, because I thought, and I told you later, I said, you were a meanie.
I could be a meanie back then. I know it. When you're working 80 to 100 hours a week, you get frayed a little bit.
But the thing about it though, you guys were cool, and I know, okay, looking back, I know I had something to offer looking back. But see, I didn't know that you got, matter of fact, Ken told me, he said the reason why I was on audio was you guys could count on me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
All I knew was, why do they keep sticking me on audio when I want to run camera?
Yeah.
And y'all stick me on audio, and I didn't know. Basically, I mean, you had people to do it, but I came in because I was trying to learn it. I put my whole being into doing audio. When I first saw that board, I was like, I saw the buttons, like, well,
Yeah.
how do you run this board?
Yeah.
And
lot
then
of
by the time
buttons.
I got done, I was like, oh, okay, I know what this is.
Yeah.
But when I first saw it, I thought, and when I walked in, I forgot who let us see the truck for the first time. And I looked at the audio board and I thought, I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah.
Because,
Yes, you are. You're going to be on it all the
I know
time.
I lived on it. But the thing about it is you guys were really cool. And at the time, and I will say this, Dave and I were black guys, and we were down there with a bunch of white guys. And growing up in the city, you hear how life is in the suburb and stuff like that. And I thought, man, I said, these guys, It doesn't matter that we're black.
No.
It's just, and I remember the first baseball game we did, and we were in like Brownstown or somewhere way down there.
Yeah.
And I said, Dave, I said, okay, you watch my back. I watch yours. We never had a problem. We never had any problem.
No. I remember one story. I grew up in Plymouth, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit, and so I was a suburb kid and only around white kids in my suburb. So we went down to River Rouge the first time, which is right on the border of Detroit.
Yeah.
And so I went down to River Rouge, and I'm looking around going, oh my gosh. Hey, oh, this isn't so bad. There's a white guy. There's a white guy. Okay, that's cool. And then you told me your story. You came from Detroit. First time you went to River Rouge. This isn't bad. There's a black guy. There's a black guy. I said, yeah, we got the same story, just come from different angles. It's
culture,
great.
you know, but the cool thing about production, and this is 43 years in the business, if I have experienced any type of racism, I don't know, because everybody treated me the same way.
Yep.
Either, you know, I got on the job because it appeared that I could do it, and then I showed them I could do it. But, you know, it's the same thing. Like, people joke. You know, there's a lot of joking going on because it's a high pressure situation.
Right,
so the way you release it is you joke, and you can't have a sensitive. You can't have touchy feelings because you can be the object of everybody's joke.
Right.
And it's just a matter of we just laughing, you know, blowing off steam.
Yeah.
But, you know, like conversations going on during the baseball games or whatever, and you just talk, and you know, you know.
The thing about TV crews was my experience is they come from all walks of life.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every race, creed, color, backgrounds. We had guys on our crew for the Tigers in Detroit, and for all the crews around that I've worked with. Some of them would come out of college, and some of them would come out of the local biker group, and a bunch of guys out of the biker group. And it's like they come in and they know what they're doing. It's like, yeah, I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you come from. Can you do this? Yeah, well, let's go, man. Let's do it. And they come off with a good show. So TV is a good melting pot.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that part of it.
And the only time that there was any type of not necessarily negative, but it's when somebody, and I didn't do, and I've watched people do this. I hired camera people to say I can do this and I can do that and I can do that, and then they can't do it.
Right.
So then I stopped. I didn't tell anybody what I could do.
Right.
And I just come and I just show up, and I say, you know what? You watch me and you'll see me do it.
Right.
And that's how you know I can do a thing. And so when I came there, it's like, okay, you showed me the mics.
Right.
Matter of fact, it was mic 1 and mic 2. It was the cart machine.
Right.
And it was the master.
Right.
And now this is what happened. We started it. We did the first one. And then we started the second one. And I hit the cart machine. And something happened, and so we had to stop. No, something happened. So we had to stop the production and restart. Well, I paused.
Oh, right.
I paused the cart machine.
Right. It didn't re-cue.
And then I thought, oh, shoot. So then you went roll it, and so you were waiting for it to recycle, and because it was still at the beginning of the song, when you got ready to come up, you had to stop again.
Right.
And I thought to myself, I'm not telling him I stopped pausing. As far as you know, it just didn't queue up again.
It just did it by itself. That had a mind of its own for that minute. And that's fine.
But I tell you, I wouldn't change anything. I remember what was cool about you. How do I word this? You and Terry's and my relationship is y'all got married,
right?
And I did audio.
The wedding. That's right.
And I was sitting down there.
What city was that in? Crabapple Cove.
I call it Crabapple Cove. And when I'm going to Grand Rapids, we'll pass Owasso, and I go, that's where Jim and Terry got married. And I was sitting in there, and I had somebody with me. I said, I don't know what kind of music they like. I had some Steely Dan. I had all this, and I just had stuff playing really low and stuff, and I was just listening. and y'all came up and said, "Great job!" And I was
Yeah,
like,
man.
I thought to myself, well, "I'm glad you think so."
That was great.
But Liren and Cullen, and I mean, it's been a great relationship.
Yeah.
And then life takes you in different
Yeah,
directions.
it
Like
does.
we started doing forward jobs, and you were doing baseball, and we would hear about you like, okay, cool, he's doing, and you hear about different ones like even John and Terry were they in like Colorado somewhere.
Yeah,
out
John
there.
and Cherry in Colorado.
And so Ken went out, but one thing Ken and I observed is that one crew that we had, just about everybody went to professional whatever. You
Yeah.
went to Tigers. We were doing forward stuff,
Yep.
and things like
Yep.
that. And we all had the same mindset. We were as good. We were cable TV.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we were concerned, we were good as the pros.
Yep. Yeah, that's the attitude that we had. It's we had some pretty good equipment for cable.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who just did local television around different cities didn't have the kind of equipment that we had. We had the Gerstenschlager, and there was some pretty good stuff in
We
there.
rolled that yellow beast in there.
I know it, and
It's rocking.
yeah, oh yeah, I almost tipped that. Oh, that's another story. But yeah, that we thought we were pretty good, and doggone it, we really were pretty good. Like you said, we were able to parlay that into better parts of a career.
So now, do you ever hear from any of the guy, Ken or any of those guys?
Yeah, from time to time you lose track of the connections that you had. I haven't seen you for a long time, but
Oh,
it just feels like I just saw you yesterday.
I know.
But I was doing my only shoot I did for General Motors.
Mm-hmm.
I got called in to do a shoot for them, and we did it at the General Motors Corvette assembly plant in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Really?
And I went down there with a couple guys, and we were getting ready to go, and who's there? Well, there's Dave Kavanaugh, and he was running the
jib. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you never know who you're going to run into.
Mm-hmm.
You get you run into different people that you've known
Yeah.
a long time ago, and
Yeah.
boop, there they are.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like yesterday.
Now, have you worked with any like really famous people? Like did you? What was that like for you? Like I worked with Michael McDonald
Oh, wow.
from the Doobie Brothers. I worked with
Wow.
Michael T. Williams and stuff like that. And me, I was just asking him a question. But have you worked with any like big name celebrities or whatever? Did you work with-
Only announcers like Ernie Harwell,
Yeah.
George Kell, and Jim Price, and there was a guy that worked in Florida for he started out there, John Bugshambi, who does ESPN sports now. I think he's with the Chicago Cubs now.
Yeah.
And just announcers, basically. Other than that, it's the directors and the producers are guys that you've known for your whole life.
Yeah,
They never really change. Some of them are still out there. But I hung it up and retired, and I've enjoyed retirement, but man, that was a fun career.
But let me ask you now, if the opportunity came, if somebody said, well, Jim, let's say, looking for Jim Holly, when you come back and do somebody's baseball, would you go back?
Probably not.
Really? So you...
But here's the deal. My wife and I have been married for about 42 years, and as my wife says, it's the best 21 years of her life because
Really?
I was gone for half of the marriage, on the road, gone. I'm in this city, that city, this, and I'm home, but I'm not really home because I got to work at home.
Yeah.
And then I'm gone again. So now I'm really enjoying my time being able to just spend time with my wife for a change. It's something that most people probably take for granted, but when you're gone all the time, missing the family, it's good to just hang out with the
Now,
family.
you got grandchildren, I'm assuming now?
No, my kids aren't having kids.
Really?
Yeah, no. So I've got a grand dog, but that's about it.
You did have another, you had another dog, I remember, yeah.
No, that's about it. That's fine.
But yeah, it is. I can't think of anything. I sold. Okay, since I couldn't get into television, I thought I'd get into sales.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into clothing sales, and it was cool. I liked it. I did it from when I was 19 to like I maybe was 21, something like that, 22. And I got into shoe sales.
Right. I did that
And
at one time too.
And then Married with Children came out, and I was like, man, shoe sales, man, yeah.
Right.
And then they closed it. So it was Hardy Shoes. They closed all the Hardy Shoes stores.
Right.
And I didn't do anything for like 6 or 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I decided, I said, well, since I can't do motion pictures, I'll do still photography. So
Right.
I took some photography courses
Mm-hmm.
and got pretty decent. I could do some, multiple exposures and stuff like that. And then one day I just got bored and I set the camera down on the other side of the dining room table and never picked it up.
Well,
And-
for one, I was real glad that you showed up when you did at TV3.
Well, I tell you what happened. A friend of mine, she was a phone counselor at this TV. It came on Channel 62 called Faith for Miracles.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a phone counselor. And she said that her boss was looking for somebody to take behind the scenes photographs of his TV studio. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go down and maybe I can get a job. I'll be behind the scenes at least looking.
Right.
And I went down the first night and I was talking to the director and, I was telling him what I could do and stuff. And I tried to fake it. I told him that I knew how to do audio and he told me about an attenuator.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I was faking it and I called it an accentuator.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, if somebody's not on key, I'll hit that accentuator. And I was like, and so a few years later when I realized what he knew, I was so embarrassed. But he didn't even call me out. He just kind of smiled and let me talk.
Fake it
But-
until you can make it.
But because I used to hang out at Stereo City, remember that?
Yeah, I remember Stereo City.
I used to hang out there, and that was how I learned how to record my 8 tracks and stuff and watch my VU meters.
Right.
And I never took one photograph at that place. I started out I went there 3 nights. The owner said, you start tomorrow, but the 4th night I was on the air audio
That's
mixing
awesome.
for live TV.
And it can happen just like that, can it? You never know what's going to come your way.
Yeah.
There's the manager for the Florida Marlins, Jack McKeon. He used to say, "What do you say when Mr. Opportunity knocks on the door?" He says, "Come on in." And so that you never know,
Yeah.
but it's going to happen. And when it does, be ready for it and jump on it.
Yeah. But, well, Jim, I tell you, I appreciate this conversation.
That was fun.
It's
Thanks,
great.
Brad. Great to see you.
Great reunion and stuff, and we got to get together. Although, but now, you're in, where are you?
Lake Odessa in the middle of the state, about 2 hours away.
And I'm on Rochester Hills, which is on the far other side.
Right.
So it's like we had to bring a lunch.
Yeah, meet someplace else. Eat at Applebee's.
Yeah.
Is that a sponsor? We should be.
Yeah.
Eat at Applebee's.
But I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks,
Jim.
Rich.
This has been great.
That was great.
This has been great.
Appreciate it very much.
And so what I like to say to the viewing audience, if you're interested in coming in and have a conversation with it, you see how this one has gone, you've seen how the other ones have gone. We're just talking about our experiences, production, good memories, whatever we had to deal with for our careers. But if you're interested in having a conversation, you can reach out to me on my Facebook page at EMERJ TV. That's EMERJ space TV. Or if somebody wants to watch it or you want to reach out, you can type in EMERJ.TV on any browser to bring to my page. If you want to reach me by email, it's emerge.tv@gmail.com. Appreciate you watching. Again, thanks again, Jim.
You bet. Great to see you.
And thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching EMERJ TV with Reggie Smith. Join us next time for more discussions on all things production. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.